My
Today.
new job is happening.
Yesterday.
Yes, yesterday was the first day. Today was second day. Absolutely loved it so far.
Bigger kid couch?
No couch in this office.
Where do you cry then?
What's that?
Where do you cry then?
I mean, I cry at my stand-up desk.
Stand-up desk.
Yes,
Wow,
we
they seem
are
forward thinking.
very forward-thinking, very ergonomically
They didn't even
correct.
give you a chair. It's a stand-up desk. You're not
They're
allowed to
prob-
sit down all day.
they're probably worried about the donut that that somehow started surrounding my midsection. So, so
Actually, you look around, no one else has a standing desk.
yeah,
Just you.
that's exactly what happened. Actually, they interviewed me, and
Right.
after interviewing me, they went
You're
to the
okay with the standing
superintendent.
desk, right?
Yeah, yeah, they went to the superintendent and said, "I'll hire this guy, but if we hire him, this guy needs a standing desk, maybe
High
a treadmill at
maintenance.
some
We don't
point."
want him to drop dead tomorrow. We gotta get him a standing desk.
Seriously
Have you?
though, it's going amazing. It
Well,
really
that's
is.
awesome. It's
Yeah, union negotiations tonight. I was actually there till about 7 o'clock. So
union
I
negotiations.
yes.
Whew, that flies right over my head.
Oh, it was
You're a
flying over
part of
my
the
head too.
union?
I am not. I am part of the management team that helps negotiate the union.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep, it was pretty fun.
So how have your first 2 days without having your distractions at work? How'd
It
that go?
it's been different because before
You're
the
actually
way
working for 8 hours.
we it wasn't as much that, but the work I was doing before was to the point where it wasn't hard tasks, but it was just time consuming things that I could get done that I could get through pretty quickly. Now it's stuff that I really need to focus on and I can't be distracted or else I'll completely lose what I'm doing and cause big problems.
Well, it's awesome. I mean, we've been pretty much along for the ride from, you were thinking about it to interviewing to getting it and now starting. So that's very cool.
Yeah, I'm I'm really excited with how it's going so far. I was concerned at first because it is a county position, but at the same time they're doing some changing around. There's some modifications going on because of laws that should have been enforced a long time ago. But at the same time, my boss pulled me over and he kind of gave me the blunt conversation about how I have a really big possible future coming. So it was nice.
Ooh, he's already keeping you all interested in the future.
Well, yeah, the assistant that I have is planning on retiring in the next year or so, and they're not planning on replacing her, so my position will kind of absorb what she does. And my boss is planning on retiring within the next 2 to 4 years.
That's right.
So I am actually the way the succession plan is going to work is I will most likely absorb his job as well, and then they may just hire kind of a backup assistant to help me out with the easy stuff at that point. So it's
Katie has no thoughts on that. I'm just kidding.
I think Katie left actually.
Oh, did she? Yeah, Katie's gone. I hear crickets. I think that's Tim's crickets, right? You're the cricket guy.
I don't have crickets anymore. Uh,
Then what's the
maybe,
crickets?
maybe they're maybe they're crickets from outside. Hold on.
No, you don't have to get rid of it. I find it's like camping.
What the heck was that? That was getting rid of the crickets.
I know. He threw a toy truck at the crickets. He's gone. The crickets are gone. Guess what? It was Tim breathing. That's what happened.
Nice.
Did you have a chance to check out the Periscope today?
I've been working all day. I've been teaching. I've been in
Oh, okay.
class
You sound
all day
exhausted.
yesterday. What?
You sound exhausted.
I am exhausted. Would definitely
Be the word.
be the word. That's right. I
Okay.
can't even think of words. Today was not a full day of me talking, but
Enough.
80% of it.
So you want to take a back seat on this one? You want me just to ask Tim questions?
No?
I'll just never say. And Katie Flower, what do you think?
Yeah, I am
I'm a first,
absolutely fine.
I'm a first name gal.
There you go. Indeed. So,
Did
did you
he?
watch any more of Robert Kelly this week?
Well, I watched everybody. Did he stand out? No. I mean,
Well, did Mac Brown?
no, Katie.
Okay, so Kelly started earlier than.
Yes.
Yes, Keith Marshall was put
Yes.
back and Kelly was next. What are we
Steve
kind
Marshall
of.
was what?
Keith Marshall was not the second running back.
Has he ever been?
He was. He
Last week?
was the first week he
Was
was
he?
right
Okay.
behind Matt Jones. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that changed quickly.
that's what I'm telling you. And you just said, was he?
Well, no, I didn't remember that he was the second guy last week. So,
Yes.
oh yeah, Matt, Keith Marshall, man.
I didn't watch much of the Washington game. There were a couple of games that I didn't get a chance to really watch.
Yeah.
Cleveland was another one. I didn't get to watch them at all.
Who'd they play?
I don't even know
I have a hard
without
time.
looking.
I have a hard time tracking the matchups. I know they played well. I can't remember if Cleveland is the rush defense that played horribly or not. Maybe. Is Tim back?
He's letting the dog in so that he can chase the cricket.
Well, that's my stupid dog.
Oh,
Barking at the freaking wind.
barking up the wrong tree.
How loud is that?
That's loud, very loud.
Very loud.
It is. It's
No,
like
I just yeah, it's loud to me, but I don't know how much.
Cleveland played Atlanta. I didn't
Oh,
even
okay.
watch
Yeah,
any of that.
all four Atlanta backs looked outstanding, and I attribute that to Cleveland looking like a horrible rush
Piece of
defense for the second week in
poo-poo.
a row. And that's what I think that's other things that we're getting little data points on is maybe early season matchups to exploit.
Mm-hmm.
And
To a certain extent.
yeah, I mean for that people are going off of 2015. How about we go off of getting blown off the ball every single rush?
Yeah, Washington still hasn't shown that they've got any kind of presence on the offensive line.
No.
They're being pushed into the backfield like they're nothing, like ragdolls.
Yep. Timmy, you back? You ready? No.
They call him Ragdoll, pretty Ragdoll.
Maybe he's putting oil in his beard.
Oh, there you go. Final preparation.
Yeah, preparation H.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's already gone through A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and so this is his preparation H.
That's really the most extensive preparation you can have for your draft, right? When you go all the way to preparation H.
There you go.
Plan H.
I'm getting all of my redraft invites now.
Invites?
Mm-hmm.
From who? College roommates and...
No, from the people that I played in their league last year and I won. I beat them and I won. And
they
they're
invited you back. Wow.
That's right.
Must not have won by that much.
I'm
just kidding.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Don't go there.
Jesus. I don't know why me talking louder means he's going to be there.
I know, exactly.
He'll probably, can no one hear me?
I went to I stayed in Fayetteville, Sunday night, and at the Hampton Inn, I went to the counter to get from the sundry shop something, and I placed it on the counter, and there was a little sign, "We'll be right back. We're dealing with another customer." So sometimes they're just right around the corner in the back. So I just said hello. I didn't yell it out or anything like that. I just said hello just to see if somebody was there. And the woman comes from around the back and she goes, "Didn't you see my sign?" And I said, "Yeah," but he goes, "I'm here."
What did the sign say?
The sign said, "Be right back. I'm helping other customers and I'll be right back." And like I said, sometimes they're just right in that vicinity and sometimes they're not. I just wanted to know. Yeah. So she's like, "Well, you didn't have to holler." I was like, I didn't.
Holler.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a Kansas City thing. Holler.
No, this was Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Oh, okay. Same thing. Just kidding.
Yeah. 2 different states later. But it's the same thing. He says, "I'm here."
Well,
we just can't hear him.
No one else says that. So, Tim, get in here.
Come on, Tim.
Stop talking to yourself.
He said, shit.
He had it. It was
What's
the cricket.
happening?
His microphone was cricket powered.
I don't even see it. Yeah, he's not even on the list.
On the list.
I see my name and I see your name
Yeah.
on the Google thing. I do not see his.
Yeah. I got a reminder of how hard it is to talk for a half hour straight on that
The Periscope
the
thing.
Periscope thing. Yeah. It's really good though. I mean, I picked up like 20 Twitter followers in a half hour. And FanDuel asked me to do it.
Mhm.
So they promoted me on their massive Twitter account. So and all I had to do was kind of plug a contest they're having. You know, it's like a giveaway for, you know, the fantasy football draft of a lifetime type thing. So
Cool.
Win-win. I mean, I would do it shorter. I did it like 33 minutes today. And as you know, I mean, I went into it not having, I thought there'd be more questions. And the stupid app, I had it on my phone. I could, when only one person would comment on something, I couldn't see their comment. It was like cut off on the bottom of the screen for some reason. So I only saw it when people did it in succession. So I would see it when it shifts up on the screen. I don't know. You don't know how it's going to go. And what sucks is you can't do like a practice, because no matter when you do it, it just goes live like right away. Like I even had to read up and be all on it, because like right when you start, it'll be you'll start and the actual camera's facing out, so you have to press it to face, you know, reverse. So you have no idea how it's going to be framed or anything either.
Right.
You're supposed to start talking right away, and then they really could help people that are doing it a little more. So it's just kind of it was the ultimate live fire situation, and just kind of figure things out.
Figure it out as you go.
As you go. But also you're trying to navigate. I mean, I have, you know, a list of some notes up of topics I may discuss. I had a couple articles I wrote, and just to kind of reference some things I wrote in there. But it's just like the whole time you can't have multiple people. I mean, I guess if you were both in the same room, you could do it. I don't know. So it's just, I see why people only do it for 30 seconds at a time. Tim, is he texting? What's he doing?
He's texting. He said he's going to reboot and try to come back in. He's not sure what's going on.
This is typical Tim. So typical. So how are things with you?
Not bad.
Not bad. Well, you're traveling, keeping your mind busy?
Yeah. And I've talked to him a couple times, and he
broke down.
He texted me first, so I didn't break down.
That's the rule. He broke down.
Yes, he broke down, which was fine with me. I needed to talk to him anyway, and it was good. And he's, like I said, doing what he's got to do, and it is what it is. And he's adamant that he will be back. He will come and get me. I'm not going to have to go through life alone. We'll find out. We'll see.
Nice.
I want to see action, not words.
I don't know. Words are nice.
Yeah.
Words are nice. They last like 5 seconds. Actions run out just as fast sometimes. All right. Now I'm starting to get nervous that what if not
He
enough?
won't be back?
No.
Oh, sorry. You're starting to get nervous. What if what?
I was moving on to something else. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
That I'm getting nervous that I won't get enough people signing up to the subscriber contest.
Oh, yeah. Not coming in, or you don't know yet?
Well, no, it doesn't start.
It can't start until noon.
It doesn't start.
Midnight.
It doesn't start till noon on Saturday. So
yeah,
it's yeah. I'm just yeah. I mean, Marla and I talked about it, trying to create the most fair way. Because she was like, yeah, just have people sign up whenever. And I was like, well, there's more people. Like, I don't want to set it to where just people filter in the whole time, but I guess I could do that. But I don't. The problem is how would I fill it if it doesn't fill in a reasonable amount of time without people knowing that it's not filled?
Right.
You know? Like that's the thing, is you don't want to kind of admit, well, it frittered away. I shouldn't have set it at 96. I mean, maybe. Well, it's actually down to 90 with the people that are already in it. So I mean, that doesn't seem unreasonable to fill, since it's not like it costs money or anything, and have some prizes and whatever. And
Well, if there's not enough people that fill it from the premium, can you open it up to just any UTH subscriber?
yeah, I could, but
First come, first serve.
Well, I could also do it quietly by just emailing people
Right.
directly. Hey,
Tim needs to be re-added to the Hangout, and that was what I was going to say. Is you were starting to worry that he wasn't coming back. I wasn't talking about Russ.
I wasn't worried about Tim at all.
Okay, well, he's trying to get back in.
I just added him. Okay, yeah, I mean, because I would love for it to get 90 emails from people the rest of Saturday and have it good to go. But if it doesn't, I'm just kind of think of escape plans because I think the thing that would admit quote unquote failure the most would be by shrinking the size of the league.
Mm-hmm.
So filling it, and people that aren't GM plus the trade calculator, which again is way over 100 people. So
right.
I think these are the super fans, and I have to think that even if a decent chunk, yes, you're here, Tim.
Okay.
You're special. Yes.
Son of a gun. I was in the chat and I was yelling. Literally, when you were saying he's probably yelling, "Can you hear me?" I was literally yelling in my microphone, "Can you hear me?"
Well, the answer was no. We couldn't.
The answer was no.
Yeah.
We weren't just ignoring you.
Why didn't you just text us?
He was.
I want to hear from Tim that he was texting us.
I was texting.
Why don't you just restart your computer and get a new invite and then come back into the Hangout? Why don't you just do that?
Yeah, Tim. Welcome home, sweetie.
That's what Tim gets it for. That's what you get for doing the Hangout from work at your standing desk. Unfamiliar environment. You're not in your normal surroundings.
I'm not in my normal surroundings. So
that's what you guys get. Yeah, and Katie was.
I've been here the whole
here
time.
with bells on and no tech issues.
It's fucking right.
Welcome back to UTH.
Hey Tim, Tim, what were you saying about your? So were you on the playbook?
Yes, yeah, I was on the playbook this past
Are you
week.
regularly on the playbook, or was that a special thing?
It was the second time.
But you produced it. You produced it regularly before,
no,
right?
The happy hour. I did a couple.
That's different. Okay.
Yeah. Then Drew Dodson asked if I would jump on some shows. They already do the IDP playbook, Dynasty playbook, but he wants to start doing a Devi one.
Yeah, and I noticed you didn't throw my name out. Thanks.
Wow. Burn.
That's okay.
Well, he just asked, it was point blank. We hadn't talked about it at all, and he just brought it up mid.
I know. I heard it on the show. I heard.
So what happened? So they're starting a Devi show
and Devi playbook. Yeah.
A Devi playbook, and what? They want Tim to be on it?
Yeah, I'm going to be jumping on with Drew. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you two are going to do the show?
Yeah.
Okay. But did you admit that you don't know Devi?
What?
No, you didn't. Interesting. It's all about who you know.
I guess. Well, according to Jordan, I don't know Devi.
So you're gonna. So you're gonna.
Because he goes to Chad.
So you're gonna be on that show. So are you quitting UTH?
No, I'm not quitting UTH.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
No, I'm not quitting.
I like to just throw things out there. I don't know what the answer's going to be.
No, definitely not. No way.
Okay. But so you're doing a Devi show?
Yeah.
And weekly?
I don't think it's going to be weekly. I think it's just kind of a sporadic when he can fit it in.
Will it basically be the happy hour and they replace it with a Devi specific show every once in a while? Or no?
The happy hour and the playbook are two different shows.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm kind of loopy. But okay. Well, anyway, that's exciting. Look at Tim. Tim just taking advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, I like Drew and Tyler. They're two really cool guys. It's funny because Tyler was talking about a Paul Dawson article that he wrote for UTH Dynasty a while back and how incredibly wrong it was.
I remember that one. Well, I remember telling him, I was like, why are you... I didn't say, why are you writing this? But I was just like, you know what you're doing, right? So said yes, I think. All right, so we ready to go? I
Yes.
have so a couple things I threw out on Twitter, so I'll mix these in. We got a couple questions, I'll say, but it was just kind of discussing the back end of rosters. You know, I mean, we're in this zone of 2-3 weeks where things are going to be happening on our rosters, whether it's just for kicker or defense, whether you have expanded rosters. You're looking at waivers with players that are rising and maybe more situational value. So all those things. So just kind of have that, you know, a few minutes in after some news and general jokes and banter or whatever. That's the topic we'll kind of get into. So if you have examples from your rosters of maybe some critical players you have to decide on, whether it's, you know, trying to create room for them through some trades, or you're just going to have to cut them, or you need to see something. So those are going to be the questions and topics of the week, if you will. And some news items and some stuff at the top. That's about it. We'll call it a show. And plan on 45 minutes, and it'll be more. As always.
As always.
I root someday for a show that's 48 minutes. I don't think it's possible, but that'd be nice.
Well, I will say
Setting the
that
timer right now.
the Dynasty Happy Hour averages an hour 45 minutes.
Average is 3.5 hours.
Yes.
Well, what I've learned, though, is the length of the show doesn't really matter. The point is that you do the reps every single week, and you put out good content when you hit record. That
Right.
I mean, I think, because I used to do 30 minutes, and, well, for one person, that's a good chunk of time. But anyway, people usually, I think one time someone complained about how short the show was. But so let's bring it for 48 minutes, as Katie said. Is the timer going?
Hasn't started yet.
Hasn't started yet.
As soon as you say,
So so we're looking for 9:10, 9:10ish, 9:15, something like that. Okay. Welcome back to Under the Helmet, looking at some long-term player value in fantasy football. I am Chad Parsons. With me, Tim Torch, Katie Flower, and we are knee-deep getting ready for Week 3 of the NFL preseason, the dress rehearsal, if you will. And this is the closest thing we will have to regular season football, with Week 4 largely being a fight for your job, the 53rd roster spot, auditioning for new teams. You're not going to see many critical players come Week 1 of the regular season. Wanted to mention this is the official show of uthdynasty.com. You want premium content, premium audio, rankings, trade calculator, uthdynasty.com is the place to go. On pace for around 200 premium shows as a general manager subscriber, and now has never been a better time. If you're a new FanDuel user, set up an account, deposit $10 or more at fanduel.com/underthehelmet. You can get 12 months of free general manager access to try it out and come on board as a UTH fan and dominant dynasty team builder along our side. And wanted to mention UTH subscriber contest this Saturday, August 27th. The deadline is here, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be filling the rest of the spots. 6 are already taken with UTH writers and contributors, including Katie, Tim, and myself. This is going to be a no-maintenance format, tons of prizes, especially at the top of the results. A best ball league, deep rosters. Pick one team against the salary cap, constructed as you see fit. See where the chips fall, no maintenance in season, and compete against the best dynasty owners in the world in this sprint to the finish contest. So what you need to do, August 27th, you need to be a general manager and trade calculator subscriber. So that can be with any amount of access, but that day when you email me, you need to have access to both of those things. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Email admin@uthdynasty.com, admin@uthdynasty.com, and once it's filled from that eligible user base. Can't wait to compete with Katie, Tim, as well as other UTH contributors and all of the super fans and listeners out there. It's going to be a great contest built on a salary cap. And again, build your team, set it and forget it, and we're going to see how the chips fall at the end of the year. So let's get to it, providing value, talking dynasty, and a lot of moving pieces now that we're getting more, these little glimmers of data points. And let's start with some injured players that surprising, not surprising on their recoveries. Last thing I heard, Josh Doxson could be ready for week 1. This has been a pretty ambiguous injury. Some people are kind of marking him off like we're just not going to see him this year, but yet they still have in-house in Washington expectations that he could be back for week 1. And even if it's not week 1, it sounds like it's on the optimistic side of expectations. And I'll start with you, Tim. Is this something that, I mean, I've seen Doxson fall sometimes to 106, 107, 108. We're kind of seeing a decline late in the process of the offseason, like a Kevin White a year ago when he was going to miss time. And this is something to exploit potentially, because he could be back in the mix and showing a few flashes in his rookie year while the depth chart thins out there for the Redskins passing game.
Yeah, this is why a lot of people like having these late preseason, almost regular season rookie drafts, because you never know what's going to happen. I actually just had one this past week where Josh Doxson fell to 106. At the 105, I took Corey Coleman there, and it was Derrick Henry and a couple other random picks that were right in front of me, so it worked out really well. The more I watched the Washington professional football team, because I choose not to say their team name, the more I think that rather than having Matt Jones or Chris Thompson or any running back there, this is going to be a Kirk Cousins centric offense, and it could really provide a boost to the passing game. And if there's any injury to any of those wide receivers, and Pierre Garçon, I mean, he's definitely had an injury history. Deshaun Jackson had his own issues. So Josh Doxson has a really nice role. So if there's any type of dip in his value, if you can buy right now for any reason, make the push. I mean, it would be worth if you could trade a 2017 first for Josh Doxson and a 2017 second or third or some type of deal like that.
Okay. And what a follow-up question would be, what type of, either it's a stat line or is there a certain type of quality you want to see for this year? I mean, no one's really expecting to plug and play Josh Doxson without maybe an injury to Garçon or Deshaun Jackson, which again, possible, but maybe something like a Devontae Parker where, the last 4 or 6 weeks of the year might be where he becomes more weekly play viable. But just in terms of the long view of projecting ahead to 2017, having a nice market value insulation / boost come January, what are you looking to see from Doxson, whether it's on the field or in the box score in his rookie year?
I don't need to see anything from the box score this year, to be completely honest. What I recommend to everyone, you need to be, obviously you are listening now, you need to be listening to this show, because there are a few other podcasts that you're going to listen to where all 3 people or 2 people, however many there are actually watching every snap of these players. And Josh Doxson is someone I'm going to be paying really close attention to this year. He may only get like 30% of the snaps this year, but damn it, I'm going to be watching every single one of them, and we'll let you know if it's any good.
That's a great point, though, that if you only have a certain amount of time, a certain number of man hours to watch tape, whether it's through NFL Game Pass, which I highly recommend because you're going to be able to search by player, or it's shortcuts through Sunday Ticket, whatever your means are, I would say being more efficient, as you just said, what are the critical players for you? Whether players you're looking to get a better gauge on, young players, I would say center your time efficiently around players like that. Or players stepping into roles, you want to know if they're for real, are they passing the eye test along with doing positive things or not positive things on the box score. So that was a great point in terms of allocating your time wisely as a dynasty owner and someone trying to maximize things on a weekly basis. And Katie, you're up with Breshad Perriman, return to practice. They're kind of positive, but obviously they're a little concerned, and they need to see more and more. They're, obviously he's missed a great deal of time, and getting him back on the field is something very needed for the Ravens passing game, but he needs to remain healthy and kind of stay on the positive track that now returning to practice makes it sound like week 1, week 2, early in the season is certainly possible.
Yeah, he didn't show very many ill effects on Tuesday's practice, but it's still early. I just want to see him get on the field and get some playing. I have no real expectations for him for this season, and we'll just see. There's so many questions in that Baltimore receiving core. Joe Flacco himself isn't 100% healthy. I just want to see them all get on the field and take a look and see how it shakes out.
Okay. And so same thing. I mean, do you think he could be the number one in Baltimore's passing game, or do you think he would be more of a situational deep threat to begin his role and then maybe round things out as time goes on?
I think the latter. He's going to be more of a situational deep threat. They're going to feed him more when he gains the trust, and then eventually, hopefully, he'll round it out and be the go-to guy. But you still got Steve Smith, who I don't know what he's going to look like coming off of his injury, but he's a very determined veteran. You've got Kamar Aiken, who can take whatever is given his way. You've got a backfield with all kinds of options. We'll see how that pans out. And then like 8 million tight ends. So we'll see how everything goes. I'm just looking forward to seeing him get on the field and, let's see what he's got.
Yeah, and one player, just to piggyback off of that, Crockett Gilmore was back last week in the preseason and getting first-team reps. So that's something to track, just another body that we may or may not have been expecting to be in the mix this soon. So keep that in mind, as he was the incumbent coming into things. We still have Max Williams, and they added Ben Watson of note at the tight end position. Tim, Lance Dunbar was a pretty significant injury. Could this have been a career ender? A lot of variables. They obviously added Ezekiel Elliott. We have seen Alfred Morris emerge. We've also seen Darius Jackson perform well. Everyone's going to look pretty much above baseline behind that Dallas offensive line. But Lance Dunbar was removed off the PUP list. What impact could he have? Could he be in the Theo Riddick vein? I mean, we kind of lumped the two of them in terms of their role and potential PPR upside together in the past, but now with Elliott, how do you think this is? Dunbar more of a impedance to Elliott's PPR value out of the gate, maybe like a Todd Gurley from a year ago, or is he just someone that's going to be so situational he doesn't have much value on his own?
I will say, and maybe you two can help me out really quick. Do you remember what Lance Dunbar's injury was? Was it a PCL that he had the issue with?
I'll read it exactly if we pause a second.
Okay.
It was 2 injuries. I remember that. Yeah, Dunbar tore his ACL and patellar tendon last year, so many were thinking he was going to be on the PUP list at a minimum for the opening 6 games.
Yeah, I still don't trust anyone who's tearing that PCL. I understand he came off the PUP list, but I mean, look at Victor Cruz. He's still having issues. Yeah, Jimmy Graham's back, but I still really haven't seen too much from him. And I keep going back to those names that I used to love. Ryan Williams. I think Mikel LaShore had the same injury,
and never quite came back.
And he was running, a 4.8 at that veteran scouting combine that they had.
Well, you could say Ryan Williams, out of all the names you just mentioned, Ryan Williams is the one that came back the most. I mean, we actually saw him in the preseason look relatively decent at the running back position. What was that, last year? Or maybe at most it was 2 years ago. But, I mean, he actually came back, and we saw him not even really make much of an impact carving out any role. So that's the best, right?
Right. I just can't do it at this point. Probably the guy in that backfield I'm investing in is Darren McFadden, and it's mostly because he really showed me something last year. He showed that he still had a really nice receiving game. He was running well between the tackles, and he still had some juice left in those legs, and he may drop his phone in the toilet and break his elbow again, but he looks like someone who, if something happens to Ezekiel Elliott, which he's already had hamstring issues, he could really take off this season and be a really nice stash.
So Dunbar in all but the defensive
he's off
leagues,
my radio.
You would say cut. If you need a spot, cut Lance Dunbar. Okay.
He's a guy that's off my radar completely right now.
Before we go to the next thing, Katie, are you on the same track of, depending on the depth, it kind of tiers down based on which running back you would target at what depth if they're available, but the Cowboys, I mean, is it such a juicy running back situation that if it's Alfred Morris adding on to the end of the deal or picking up Darius Jackson, are you or Darren McFadden, who maybe might have been dropped by somebody this summer. Are all those kind of viable stashes depending on the depth? I mean, because the offensive line is so good?
It depends on the depth, obviously, but I don't even know that Darren McFadden is going to stay with the Cowboys if they feel very comfortable with Ezekiel Elliott and Morris and Jackson. Then why wouldn't they trade him to somebody if they can get something? Or they may. I don't know what his contract is and whether he's cuttable or not at this point, but the point is somebody else is going to need a veteran running back, and I don't think the Cowboys will. I'm not really going to stash Lance Dunbar either. I think that one's just a little bit too deep based on everything that we've seen from everybody else until I see him do something, and then I might go grab him off waivers depending on what else I've got going on my roster. But he's not a high priority at this point.
Katie, one of the bigger news items of the week was Carlos Williams going from suspended to cut. And
you mean Fat Carlos?
Fat Carlos? Is that the official nickname now?
Yeah, instead of Fat Eddie, he's now given off his weight. That's right.
Carlos.
Fat Carlos.
And what's the poundage up to at this point? Or is it all unconfirmed?
He was 261, and then he dropped, I think 15 pounds, but he's not completely back to where he needs to be. And
225, 230.
Yeah, between being suspended and being overweight, there was nothing showing. Right. He met with the Jets today, but that was more of just a precursory type. We got to take a look at him. But
the Jets. What's funny is the Jets. You kind of look at their running back depth chart, and you could say, what are they doing? Right. I mean,
right. It's like, why are they exactly? They're kicking the tires on a AFC East opponent just to see what the Buffalo Bills saw. Maybe Quadir get a little bit of info from him and just say, here's a donut. Go see ya.
Donut.
Yeah.
We don't care what happens to you after you leave this building.
That's right. Thanks for coming by.
I don't care about your future employment.
If you've got him, though, I wouldn't drop him. A lot of people are like, no. I mean, he's talented enough that I would drop other guys.
24-man roster, would you really hold Carlos Williams?
No, not 24. But 24. If you're talking 30 or deeper, I would hang on to him and find out where he lands. I think he will land somewhere. It may be in 3 weeks, closer to his time when he comes back from his suspension and closer to when he's lost that pregnancy weight and can prove to somebody that he's worth something. But he had some juice last year as a rookie, and somebody is going to be running back needy.
During the year, and we see people sign Pierre Thomas or these ho-hum veterans, but Carlos Williams could be that name this year.
Exactly.
His running back is that one. I mean, basically, to hand somebody the rock, I mean, you can fill in a guy and last-minute notice and give him some carries if you have maybe more of a pass catcher.
Here's the ball, there's the whole go.
Exactly. So, yeah, as of the recording on this, so he visited with the Jets, as you mentioned, probably a kick-the-tires type situation. They weren't going to sign him now, but maybe plant the seed for the future. If Matt Forte goes down, maybe they're more interested, something like that. So, yeah, I think in shallower leagues, though, Carlos Williams has to be on your dynasty cut list.
And if you do cut him, I would put him back on your watch list so that you can keep an eye on him. Because it could be
you're dropping, because obviously you've had interest enough to keep him during this offseason at some point for some amount of time.
Absolutely. Agree.
Tim, you get the juicy Washington Redskins question, which this is a backfield where Matt Jones, we will see. It's looking like he could be back and starting in week 1 as all expected, but it was a kind of a roundabout way to get there, TBD. But behind him, so Chris Thompson, from my watching, he's proven he's not really an interior runner. I don't know if that was a big question mark, but still doesn't really look like he expanded his game to include that for 2016. Keith Marshall, I'll ask a follow-up to you in a minute, Katie, but Keith Marshall has not really, through 2 games, small sample size, all of that. I've yet to really see what I want to see beyond the box score. Have not seen what I want to see. Rob Kelly has been that who name. Mac Brown is, 3, 4, something like that in terms of early down usage back projections. Keith Marshall, your thoughts on him? Rob Kelly, I mean, he's still out there in some leagues. Is he a must pickup for Matt Jones? Like, what's the play, or is he just such a humdrum talent don't bother.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother with Kelly. And as far as Chris Thompson, I never expected him to be an interior runner. He was definitely one of those Theo Riddick-like type of running backs where he could catch a lot of balls. Like I mentioned earlier, this is definitely looking like a Kirk Cousins-centric offense. But I think the Washington Redskins are really a team who's watching the cuts that are going to be coming in the NFL. So they may even have a guy like Pierre Thomas, who they had signed last year, on speed dial. They could be looking at the Titans,
Tennessee
whoever
or Baltimore, or
whoever gets cut
someone
there.
flicks through, yeah.
It's going to be on speed dial for them. I don't see these. I could even see Keith Marshall making it to the practice squad for them if they want to bring in a veteran that they can really trust, because I don't think Matt Jones has shown really nice in the preseason at times, but I don't think he's shown enough to say, I'm going to give you the rock and I'm not going to sign anyone behind you.
Okay. And then going back to our correspondent for UGA and someone who watched Keith Marshall closely, can you answer this? We haven't had this question. I haven't talked to you in between shows, so we'll do it on air. That Keith Marshall, I just wanted your open-ended thoughts on what you saw with his collegiate tape, and you use every single qualifier you can, but through 2 weeks of the preseason, what have you seen, and the differences, have you recalibrated at all on your kind of talent and long-term evaluation of Keith Marshall?
Most of the time that I watched UGA, he was injured, so there wasn't a whole lot of tape. I do remember as a freshman he looked pretty good. I don't remember any specifics. I wasn't watching him specifically close back then because I wasn't doing Dynasty back then. I just remember that he and Todd Gurley were both heavily recruited, and they both looked fairly decent in that backfield. What I see from the Redskins, what I see from him, that offensive line is always in the backfield. So there isn't
like
any
pass pro even when they're run blocking.
Yeah, exactly. So they're being pushed and manhandled into that backfield that no running back has had any real clear seams or gaps to run through.
Since
Matt Jones has looked the
2014.
best. Yeah, Rob Kelly looked fairly good, but he was facing second and third team defenses.
Right.
By the time that Mac Brown got in the game, he's facing third team
Fringe NFL
defenses. Exactly. So you can't really judge based on that. Like Tim said, I don't see this team being a heavy run team at this point. They're going to be passing a lot. They're in the NFC East. They're going to be trailing. They're going to have to come from behind. This backfield looks way messed up compared to what I thought Cleveland. Cleveland has actually looked pretty good, and even the Titans have looked pretty good. But they've been beefing up this offensive line over the last couple of drafts, and they still cannot push the line and move forward.
And let's be honest, their defense doesn't look that much better either.
No. So Katie, what depth of league? Let's say you're sitting here. You took Keith Marshall at 210, something like that. What roster size does it have to be for you to go, I am so tight on this thing, and I'm deciding between 3 or 4 players? Are you saying, Keith Marshall, I'm giving you a shot, even though, I mean, it's been a very slow start, and you were already a late pick, and it was more, man, that could be a really juicy situation. He has the opportunity to win the number 2 role. That looks like it's not even close to be what's going to happen. If he does get landed on the practice squad or something like that, I mean, are these signs enough in 22-man, 24-man roster leagues where you're just saying, let's reset the clock, I'm getting somebody else, or I need to clear 3 spots and Marshall needs to be one of those cut players? Or are you siding with the longer-term view of, come on, it's a rookie, we're a few games in, he's his first preseason, I'm going to go with more of my eval coming into the NFL than this short-term stuff?
On the shorter rosters, he's got to end up on the cutting room floor.
Okay.
On the deeper rosters, I would still give him a chance, and here's the reason. As you said, he's a rookie. He's spent a lot of his collegiate career injured, and so it is a huge adjustment just to go from college to NFL, let alone going from hardly playing to picking up in the NFL. Not to mention, add to that the offensive line. But the biggest thing that I see or hear is that his coaches don't think that he's doing all that good of a job. They demoted him after the first preseason game, so that's not a good sign. And that to me says if I've got a shorter roster and I've got to make a decision between, say, like Keith Marshall and Dwayne Washington or Keith Marshall and Zach Zenner, I'm going to keep the Detroit backfield over him. But if it's a deeper roster, 30-man and deeper, and you've got the opportunity to hang on to him without having to cut somebody, I'd hang on to him and just see what he's got.
Okay. Yeah, I think when we talk about different depths of league, it's really important to differentiate because it really does change how many true stash players where you have zero short-term expectations, you just like the player, but as it shrinks on you, it really becomes critical that maybe you have a couple spots, but you also have to know which ones am I churning in season, which one, if something happens week 1, I'm bolting and I'm getting somebody else, and you might as well know that in advance and take a shot on somebody you think could have a week 1 uptick and be a waiver wire add priority across leagues so that you're being proactive with it. And those are just sort of some of the ancillary and forward-thinking moves that I think are next-level dynasty owner skills. That it's about knowing this and having the discussion we're having today a week, 2 weeks before a critical decision in your dynasty calendar needs to be made.
Exactly. We all know that second and third round rookie picks are very low percentage. So if you're in a super flex or a tight end premium, use that roster spot for a questionable tight end or a questionable quarterback or something to that effect. If you only need to start one running back, I would cut Keith Marshall. If you have to start two to four and it's a deep enough roster beyond 30 and you feel like he could have some juice in the future, hold on to him. But if you've got the 22 or 24 man, there's really no way that you could hang on to him, in my opinion.
Tim, Dion Lewis, another surgery. Last thing I saw, 8 to 10 weeks, cleaning up his knee. James White is the name of the hour in terms of a substantial uptick for redraft and dynasty. Could be seeing a substantial part of the year unencumbered with that passing role that's been viable. He had quite a number of starting caliber and high upside weeks to close out 2015. James White, would you be selling or holding? Dion Lewis now is going for a fraction of before this news broke because people were back in the he's worth a first-round rookie pick type environment where I sold a while back for that equivalency. How did you kind of gauge this news as it came out regarding those two players?
Yeah, it's so I think people always forget at one point in the off season and then start to remember as the regular season gets closer. It's the Patriots running backs, and it's never going to be easy to tell exactly what's going to happen. We even heard news today that Donald Brown was released. So I mean, if you're going to place a bet somewhere, I'm still placing it on James White, LeGarrette Blount, and Dion Lewis. If I can get out from him anywhere, I'm going to do my best to do it because, let's face it, as much as we love him, as much as I love what I saw from him last year, he's never played a full 16-game season. He could really be a nice guy to try to acquire maybe week 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there when you're getting ready to make a playoff push. Maybe he comes back just in time to give you that little extra boost in the playoffs that you need. But I'm bailing right now unless I'm a strong contender that can buy him for cheap.
Would you take a 17-second for Dion Lewis today?
Yes.
Okay.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. Different answer, Katie, or the same?
Same.
Okay. Last thing of news is Austin Seferian-Jenkins. Talk about a player going through a lot of oscillations of news and perceptions where I couldn't believe it. It was a tight end premium best ball, deep best ball, and I got Austin Seferian-Jenkins around 14. I couldn't believe it, like afterthought range of what tight ends were available by that point in time. But he's been a strong producer, and the highlights are there. We, again, kind of like the Christine Michael, right? We know he can play. So that's not really the question mark of his game. And now the news comes out, well, he's back to, he's earned the right to split first-team reps with Cameron Brate, who I think every talent evaluator would say has a much lower ceiling. He'd be more of a stopgap starter and more of a ASJ messed up. So that's why Brate's in there, because we just trust him a little more, but he's not going to do anything dynamic. Katie, is Austin Seferian-Jenkins one of the better buys at tight end? I mean, I know a lot of UTH owners already own him, and we talked about bridge players potentially being in play for someone like him or Ladarius Green or some of these other youngsters that may not have a solid role to open the season. But do you think he gets back to being the pretty consensus starter in terms of his playing time there early in the season?
I do think that he has that capability, and I haven't given up on him. I haven't sold any shares, even with all the low balling that people sent. I did pick up some Cameron Brate to kind of hedge my bets. I did pick up some bridge players to make sure to have somebody that's startable until he could prove to be reliable. I think that he did a mind meld with the kicker Roberto Aguayo and gave him his mental faculties, because now he's going through his own, he's seeing a psychiatrist for his missing field goal things, and so it's just running rampant throughout the team, and hopefully it won't spread to anybody else anytime soon. But yeah, hang on to Cameron Brate if you picked him up, just to have that backup. He does not have as high of a ceiling, but you want to be able to have a viable, especially in tight end premium, one of those two will end up. And I think that ASJ will, by mid-season, have solid command of the starting job. Big question is he hasn't stayed healthy, so there's another good reason to hang on to Brate, at least until he can prove some kind of consistency.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I wanted to mention this is the official podcast of UTHDynasty.com, premium podcast as a general manager subscriber. Basically 5 podcasts a week in the off season, and during the season you're already getting a preview here in the preseason of my film notes. If you don't have time to watch, you're going to get batches of usually 30 minutes, 45 minutes for some of these shows in season, going over all the plays, all the games of what you need to know, distilling it down to you, the dynasty owner, to make moves in your league on a weekly basis, buy, sell, trade, as well as picking up from the waiver wire, doing all the dirty work for you, have you covered. And owner skills, talk about some of the premium shows that are available. Dynasty owner interrogations, I interview quality dynasty owners for their tips, their tools, and skills that have developed them into strong owners in their league. Over the past week, that has come out, as well as Devy draft interrogations, rookie draft interrogations, startup draft interrogations. You're going to hear Tim, Katie, myself run those. And just getting into, also we're going to evaluate specific players with spotlights, in-depth conversations for probably 10 to 20 minutes in shows. So all these things are off-season, in-season, getting you ready for everything you need as a dominating dynasty owner. And FanDuel.com/UnderTheHelmet is going to be the way to try this out for free by creating a new FanDuel account. So never been a better time. And the 2.0 launch this offseason of the UTH Trade Calculator. Execute more winning trades. So the topic I wanted to bring up, and it falls in line with some of the angles here for the news this week, which is critical players on the back end of your roster. You need to decide. And I went to Twitter. Let's get some feedback from the UTH faithful. And here's some responses of players that you're either betting on the back end or maybe on your cutting room floor. So I wanted everybody to weigh in on some of these players. We'll include some of our own. One is Christine Michael from Steven. He says that he's an annual tease, although he's got me thinking that he's on the right track now with his commitment to the game. And that was in response to who's going to be the toughest player to cut or keep before week 1. So Katie, what's your thoughts on Christine Michael? I'm sure in the cut or keep category, this would be more of a maybe 20-man roster, but I got to think in any depth, you got to keep him with the upside potential.
You have to keep him.
Have to. So figure out a way. Christine
right.
Michael, he's got to be.
Or if you don't trust in him, get what you can in a trade. Exactly. He's
zoomed up. Yeah.
I've seen him go for a 2018 first.
Wow.
I've seen him. I've seen him go for. Tim saw him go in a early rookie draft, rookie free agent draft in the first round. So he's got some value if you don't believe in him.
From Senior FF Carlos, Tim, he says it was Carlos Williams prior to his cut day, and then he ended up keeping him, and now he cut him. But he says, looking back, he could have kept J.J. Nelson, Jesse James, or Jordan Cameron instead. So it sounds like Carlos Williams got the benefit of the doubt, and now he was cut by the NFL. Now he wishes he could go back in time, and of that I would have picked Jesse James myself. What about you?
Yeah, Jesse James was close. I would not have picked Jordan Cameron.
And J.J. Nelson is more of a handcuff, right?
Yeah,
to John Brown, in my opinion.
I think it was a crapshoot. If you had really nice tight ends to start with, I don't disagree with the Carlos Williams call. As soon as he resigns somewhere, he's going to get a little bit of a bump, and worst case scenario, you could trade him off for maybe a 2017 third round pick or try to get something for him. But I think you made the right call if you have solid tight ends on your team.
Katie, Jason's critical player is DeAndre Smelter. He said it really depends on what happens with his IR status. I've heard he's going to potentially play in the preseason. He's a real swing player where I think we've discussed before, you could see cutting him. You know, if he ends up on the IR, say you don't have IR spots, depending on the depth of the league, there's a lot of variables involved with Smelter, but are you cooling on him, and could he be one of those cut players?
He could be. I've stashed him in a lot of places, but I've stashed him for cheap or free, and I think that most UTHers got that word before having to pay any kind of price for him, so it's been a speculation the entire time, and it's time to decide. It's going to be tough. I'm going to judge each roster based on every other factor, so how many starting wide receivers, how many roster spots do you have, and who else would have to be cut? Smelter could easily find himself cut from many of my teams.
And I'll reiterate that low-level wide receivers on the very back end of your roster, they typically are longer-term holds. They typically have less potential to flash up and become a core level, I would say Stephon Diggs type rising in terms of prominence and using in your lineup in a short term. They're less likely to benefit substantially from a singular injury on their depth chart. There's just a lot of tiebreakers going against them for those final roster spots. So while we love wide receivers, I kind of gravitate towards you want very select, high quality, in your top 7 or 8, and beyond that, you have to be very selective with your long-term holds. Tim, Michael says ASJ in one league and Ladarius Green in another. So we already touched on ASJ a little bit. Say it's a shallow league. Ladarius Green, I mean, talk about a guy we cashed out, right? I think we traded a 17 second and Green for a 17 first because it was like, we love him. He's great, but he's still a tight end. We're still trying to shoot the needle if everything, quote unquote, comes together for him. And we wanted to get a 17 first, and that was an easy way. At the time, an easy way to do it, but now it's like good. I mean, the best offer I've gotten in my inbox from Ladarius Green is a third rounder next year. So that means minimal market value. I mean, is Ladarius Green one that you could break ties against him with everything you know today on a short roster?
I hate to say it, I bought in so many leagues, and at this point, I want to keep him, but I also have cashed out in a couple of places as well, and I've taken the third round pick where I can get it because it's
hard to hold 3-4 tight ends in some of these rosters. I mean, if you have a bridge guy like a Witten, and then say you got ASJ, how many more spots can you spend realistically?
Yeah, I can't waste those spots on majority of my teams, and even the places where I can, I would rather someone that I'm a little bit more confident in long term because I have zero confidence in him. They're talking about cutting him and trying to recoup his signing bonus, and a good part of the reason I liked that spot so much was because he was getting put with Big Ben. If he goes somewhere else, I mean, who's to say, number one, he's healthy, and number two, who's to say it's a good situation or a clear depth chart?
Yeah, this is from D. Thornhill 7 for you, Katie. A few players on his list are Jeff Janis, DeAndre Washington, Jake Kumerow, and he says he just likes the guy. So that's, a deep name for people. And DeAndre Smelter and his guy, Cody Kessler, who he still likes long term. Just any thoughts on players he listed on breaking ties for or against them?
Well, Kumaro on the Bengals is, maybe somebody that he likes, but I think that he's
Kind of
pretty
like
safe
40
to
roster
cut.
spots, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even have him stashed anywhere, not even in
Okay.
nowheres.
Buried.
Buried.
DeAndre Washington. Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Dwayne Washington.
okay,
He's
I was
in.
going to say, I
Sorry.
think that you probably have the wrong Washington there.
Dwayne Washington, tiebreakers for him, right?
Tiebreakers for him, but if there's
He
like
gets
3 or
practice squad?
it just depends on how many cuts that you've got to make, but the tiebreaker would still lean towards him. And then who was the other one that you mentioned?
Smelter we covered, but Cody Kessler, if it was a start one.
Start one, he's a drop.
You got to, right?
Easy.
I mean,
start
RG3s look pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you're holding 3 quarterbacks, Kessler can't be one of them.
I agree. I mean, there are people in start one that are picking up Dak Prescott, and I think that's ridiculous.
That's insane. Some people are spending like 15-20% of their waiver budget on Dak Prescott in a start one.
I saw, over $200 on a $400 budget.
Jeez.
It's crazy in a start one. And Jeff Janis was the other one. He would also be on my cut list, depending, I would say, 25 men or
would be the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's one is in the past I've said he's one of the select few that you give tiebreakers. Is he still warranting that, or are you kind of your patience running thin on Jeff Janis and his development?
My patience is wearing thin just on the overall Green Bay offense of all those stragglers towards the end of that line.
I'm wearing thin on Ty Montgomery. I don't know if he's that good.
Yeah, I mean, I even, as much as I like Devontae Adams, and I've got him still stashed in a lot of places, he may end up, depending on how deep the rosters are, and I don't know if he's mentioned anywhere else on the subscribers, but yeah, I mean, if that one would be probably a 28, I'd keep him 28 and beyond.
At least
25
Devontae Adams made a nice play last week. That shades of 2014. That was a pleasant sight to see. So we'll see if he can keep building on that. Tim, you are up, and Tyler Huggins, friend of the show, IDP guy. He says Cody Latimer. I just can't let go. Can you just let?
In the words of Tyler, in the words of Tyler, he's bonkers, straight bonkers.
Cody Latimer or Tyler?
Tyler, let him go.
Let him go. But he had that great stat line in the preseason, didn't you know? He led the team in receiving and
it was amazing.
With the third, it was amazing. It was so Cody Latimer-esque, right?
Yeah, don't be bonkers, Tyler. Just let him go, man.
Don't be bonkers. Just let him go, man. From Dylan and Katie, he says Paul Richardson. He adds still holding. I've actually, I hated Paul Richardson coming out. He even tweeted me that I was insane. But Richardson looks healthy again, and he's not as blocked as if someone like Lockett were to miss time, I think I think Richardson's the biggest fit for that similar role in Seattle. I mean, is Richardson on the back end? Is that someone you're breaking ties for or against?
I recently, in a 24-man roster, had to make one final cut before our rookie free. I've got one final rookie free agent draft that starts next week, and got a bunch of really cool picks, so that's fun. But I cut Victor Cruz and held on to Paul Richardson.
Okay, Tim, this is a big question, one that I'm sure a lot of people are faced with right here. Adon Davenport, he says Josh Ferguson. It says he's Josh Robinson, the sequel. So based on what you've seen, based on the fact of that Colts depth chart, Ferguson, say you drafted him at 306 or something, I mean, you breaking ties for or against him?
Against him, and I'm really disappointed because I've watched this preseason. Jordan Todman's had a little bit of juice. Robert Turbin has shown me that he can do some stuff. So I just don't know what to make of this backfield right now. If the Colts keep him on their roster, that's great. I mean, it could be a shot for him, but let's face it, he was undrafted. They did give him a good bit of money for an undrafted free agent, but wow, I'm more than a little skeptical on what Ferguson's future could be with the Colts.
Agreed. Two more for you, Katie, from Joe Mack. Michael Pruitt and Terrell Watson. Terrell Watson. Terrell Watson. Terrell Watson, have you got to see much of him this preseason?
Not a lot.
He hasn't looked good. I'll just
Yeah,
say that. He hasn't
yeah.
lived up to the metrics, I'll say that.
I will say that he is on my cut list in
Yeah.
many places. Here's what I would say: if it's tight end premium, lean towards keeping Pruitt. If it's not tight end premium, keep
Cut
the running
both.
back.
Well, cut both, honestly.
Or
I
cut
mean,
both, right? Yeah.
Watson, I've seen enough to say I'm very,
You're
very
done?
skeptical.
Okay.
Not done. I mean, in the deepest of leagues, and if it's point per carry, that type of stuff. But your typical leagues, if he was number 25, 26, yeah, he's got to be gone. Few other questions here, so let's weigh in here. Good question on Davante Adams from Chris. At what point in a rookie draft would you rather keep Davante Adams over the pick? Let's start with you, Tim. Where's that line?
I'd probably go early second round once I'm past once I'm right around the Devontae Pook. I'd rather have Carew, but
Okay.
But yeah,
But
Carew, Will
someone
Fuller.
like Jordan Howard.
Yeah, I would want Adams over Howard, or I'd want Adams over Procise. Right around that line. So early
14, 15,
second.
16 overall might be somewhere in that zone. Would be give me Adams.
Yep.
Any different, Katie?
I had said mid-second, so very similar zone. I would take, if there's other free agents like Chris Hogan in there, I'd take Chris Hogan before Davante Adams, but
there you go.
mid to late second.
All right, there you go. Also from Chris, Kaepernick, is he worth keeping at $44 in a $400 super flex league? So about 10% of the overall cap. That would be $22 in the typical $200 cap. Or is it better off with, so this is Katie's kind of question of a lot of details, or would it be better off with $11 cap hit, so 25%, to dump him and free a roster spot?
Dump him.
Dump him. What do you think, Katie?
I asked him who his other quarterbacks were on Twitter, and he hadn't answered yet. So it depends on who his other quarterbacks are, but I'm leaning towards dump him. Yes.
If Kaepernick's like his number 3.
If it's his number 3, keep him. If it's 4 or beyond, cut him.
Well, that's a high salary if he's your 4 or beyond for a guy that's not
I know.
a producer or high. Yeah, I know.
The story behind it was he was just trade to make the trade even cap wise. He wasn't really planning on keeping him.
Yeah.
He wasn't the juicy part of the trade.
I have a hard time with Kaepernick because I think he could wind up being the starter for part of the year and rushing alone with Chip Kelly. I think that could have some value, but part of me thinks that he's not coming back to close to what we saw at his peak before. So that's tough. All right, so big question. The last one from our following here from China Food NA. He says, should I bother trading for a tight end with this team or focus on 2017 and beyond? A lot of rookies, without saying the whole roster, a lot of rookies, not enough top end. Brandon Cooks is his number 1, but he really doesn't have a stable number 2 wide receiver at this point. It looks like, he just kind of needs to have a tight end, but it's basically, should I pick one up? Maybe he could pick up someone like a Lance Kendricks to have a warm body. You have to start one. But he's really, I would say, building up in this super flex league. He does have a few quarterbacks of note, but not looking like a contender. Should he trade for one? I mean, maybe it's a Clive Walford or something, or would you just kind of say, whatever, I'll get one later when it actually matters? What's your thought on that, Katie? On having a well-rounded roster.
Well, first of all, he's got Allen Robinson and Brandon Cooks. So
sorry, I missed that one.
Right,
Okay.
but his quarterback situation is horrid. In a super flex, he's got Mariota as the only starting quarterback. Other than that, the rest of the guys aren't starting, period. So with the rookies that he's got and the young team that he's got, I'd say do not trade for a tight end at this point.
Don't waste
Struggle through, don't waste the trade. Just struggle through, do what you can to be paying attention to the waiver wire as you go, and just look into next season.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot that. Apologies on the Allen Robinson. He actually does have Michael Pruitt, so he does have a warm body there. Tim, anything different in terms of how you would approach the position in a league like that?
Yeah, I haven't seen the whole roster, and I don't know as much as you two do about it, but just from the kind of the rough summary that I've gotten, I would trade Marcus Mariota and see if I could get a younger quarterback that I liked and some future capital, because I'm not. And I've put this out a couple of times, I'm not convinced that Marcus Mariota, with the weapons they're giving him, the offense that they want to run, and just the overall management of that team, is going to be a long-term answer for anyone. I see that coaching staff being fired in a couple of years, and by that time, they could easily ruin Marcus Mariota.
Shots fired. And Tim, final thoughts for the week as maybe something you're looking forward, you need to see out of somebody or an offense here in the tune-up for the regular season in week 3, or just along the lines of we're now in the final stages of back to regular season dynasty owner mode of, it's less projecting. It's more about reacting and using all the tools and we've improved and built up over this off season, put into action, because now it's time to go out and win some games.
Yeah, this is week 3 of the preseason, and everyone, whether it's redraft and dynasty now, everyone should really be paying attention to what's happening out there. A couple of spots I'm really paying attention to: the Washington Redskins, if they might sign a veteran, who gets released from the Tennessee Titans out of that backfield, the Carolina Panthers, who's running behind Jonathan Stewart. These are all really important positions that everyone should be paying really close attention to. If you're not dialed in at this point to what's going on, I mean, do some type of homework. I can't give Chad enough credit for the news that he's been putting out for the 2 preseason games that he's done so far. I listened to those during the regular season and everything, and it's really good because he focuses on those key players everyone should be thinking about. So please catch up, do what you need to do to be ready. Even if you have some type of rookie draft coming up, don't be that last-minute person who's just now learning who Hunter Henry is, and is confused by Keith Marshall versus Chris Thompson. This is stuff you should know already, and if you don't, catch up now.
What about you, Katie? Final thoughts for the week?
Just short and sweet. It's going to come down to cut time. You've got 2 weeks left to package players and try to make some final trades to make the cutting a little bit easier or less. But don't be afraid to cut those guys. Ask yourself why. Why do they belong on this roster? What role do they have? And are they really going to be fantasy relevant? If they're not, cut the ties. Keep them on the watch list for the future, but just say goodbye.
Well said by both of you. I'll reiterate something Tim said, which is, trust me, I'm getting the reps in and doing these recap film study, film note shows in the preseason. I'm putting them out on a daily basis with each segmentation of the games for the week, since it's spread out over over half the week essentially. But I'm getting ready for the regular season, trying to get in that form of performing every single week, delivering and distilling down all the information you need to know. And it's not focusing maybe on the players that have a smaller scope of expectations or projection. It's on those critical swing players and depth charts that matter. And what I'll say is listen to these shows from week 1 to week 2, then we'll get week 3. There's a progression there, and there's been a few depth charts where I've been surprised by how the team's been handling the playing time, and you're seeing players move up and down, and a lot of my notes are based on that information. So an invaluable addition that week 1 last year wasn't around, and I added it mid-season of putting into action and recording my thoughts that I was taking notes anyway, and just creating content out of all the research I was doing as an owner and analyst already. So just another invaluable tool added to the UTH toolbox of being a subscriber. So check that out. It is on the premium app for General Manager Plus subscribers, and also you can stream it and download it from the UTH site and podcast index directly. So one last time, for becoming a general manager, FanDuel.com/underthehelmet. Also, August 27th, again, 12 p.m. Eastern. Once the league is full, prizes for top finishers, compete against Katie, Tim, myself, and the rest of the UTH gang. It's going to be a blast building it against the salary cap. You're going to have a few days to set your team, and then we're going to see how the chips fall And again, 12 p.m. Eastern, email admin@uthdynasty.com, and you need to be a general manager and trade calculator subscriber at the time of filling the league on August 27th. So just email me anytime after 12 p.m. Eastern. If spots are available, you are in. So until next week, and we're going to have all those data points from week 3 of the preseason. Cannot wait to continue the dialogue with Katie at FF_Skyler399 and Tim Torch at Tim NFL, myself at Chad Parsons NFL. And until next time, never settle, refuse to be average, and keep building those dynasties. Bow, bow. What did we clock in at?
53.
Wow, and that's from when I actually started talking for the show?
Yep.
Tight.
You didn't listen to the text message.
No, I saw the 40-minute thing, but I didn't know when that was compared to now.
It was more than 8 minutes ago.
Were we shooting for 48?
It was 13
said
minutes
I would
ago.
like to do 40. Didn't he before the show? I'd like to do this in 48 minutes.
Well, you know what it is. You aim for something. It's just like I want to leave at 6:15, and hopefully you'll be out the door by 6:25. Like
kind of like the toilet. You aim for the bowl, but doesn't always
exactly. And then you start doing trick shots. You're going for distance. Yeah.
Yep. You put the Cheerio, throw a few Cheerios in the toilet bowl or Fruit Loops and get the blue ones. And
there it is. Yeah. Or there's a little piece of toilet paper on the edge, and you just keep trying to hit it off. Trick shots. I just wait to go to the bathroom when I'm in the shower.
There you go.
Kill
two birds with one stone.
Exactly. And you can clean off your foot after you mash it down the drain.
You mash pee down the drain?
Okay.
No, I'm asking you. That's
I think
what it sounded like
Tim
you
out
just
more
said.
than Katie. That's the funny thing. Katie's like, yeah, I've been there. And Tim's like, oh my God, you're disgusting. I need another drink to listen to that story. I got this great story about this shower. Remember the time I peed my bed? This one's worse.
Oh man.
Good show.
You guys.
Did you guys hear my when I was on the RotoViz show? Did either of you listen to that?
Yeah, twice. At least.
Twice.
I listened to it once.
Oh, okay. So that story about high school.
Mm-hmm.
You guys hear that one? Okay.
Yep. The most embarrassing, or
I don't know what it was, but I just didn't want to tell
yeah.
the same one when I was on the other show. So.
Yeah. It was fine.
Okay.
It was fine. You're okay.
You're okay, I guess.
It wasn't that
You're just
embarrassing.
you're just a little weird.
I can't ever look at you the same again.
I did like how you used that voice when you were on that show.
What did I? What did I do?
Yeah, your random side person voice that you sometimes do.
Oh yeah. God, I love. Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah, I don't know who you are.
You can't do. You need to practice.
I do need to practice.
I don't know
have
who
a
you are
terrible
anymore. It's got to be a whisper. You don't whisper regularly to kids, do you?
No.
Sweet nothing.
Here's a lollipop, kid.
That's a little better. That sounds creepy. That sounds like back of the van whisper.
I was trying to be creepy.
You gotta do like sugar plum therapy.
I was trying to act like Tim. I was trying to be creepy.
Don't worry.
Aw.
You want it to sound so nice and innocent that it almost sounds creepy by default.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There we go. Tim will
Sounds
teach us
good.
someday.
So Chad has the creepy voice down pat.
Yeah.
Just so we're all clear.
Here's the practice.
So who is Hunter Henry?
Well, I'll learn if he lasts to the 4th round of my rookie draft. I guess I have to learn who he is.
Ugh. C-Mike went 112 in my rookie draft.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew it was
Well,
somewhere. in the first round.
Ryan said Tajay Sharp is now like a top 10, top 12 rookie pick.
Yep.
Isn't that insane? Or is it not insane? I mean, is that...
I just can't do it.
I can't do it either. I don't think he's
I
very
just
good.
don't think it's- I don't think it's sustainable. B, I don't know about that offense as a whole. I think they're going to be running the ball. They're going to be running.
Really good.
Yeah. I sold one of my shares of Tajay Sharp. I told you I got a 2018 first. And the guy was telling me, wow, that's really light. That's really light. Yeah, well, maybe so, but That's what I wanted.
Barking.
I got a first, second, and third for Devontae Booker.
Oh wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
jeez.
17?
18.
18.
18 first, second, and third.
Yeah, 17 picks are like gold, but you go out to 18 and nobody knows anything about him yet.
They're just
Well,
giving
first of
away
all-
Saquon Barkley. It's just like,
Well,
Well, the funny part is if half the
that's what I was just going to
don't
say.
come out.
There's so many people that could stay back that class, the 18 class, could end up just as
looking
nice.
like the best one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every class looks great, and then all of a sudden, a few of them, like Corey Davis, didn't come
We
out,
know that he won't this
or
time.
or Mike Williams. It's like that would have made 16 look better, right? You get
It
those two
would've.
guys in there.
That would have been amazing.
Absolutely.
That would have been amazing. Would have got Will Fuller would have been the second round, and those two guys probably would have been in the top 7. I don't know, but just yeah.
Can I run some stuff by you guys?
Yep, I'm gonna head out. Tim, weigh in. No, I'm just kidding.
Ha ha
Oh,
ha
check.
ha.
What's up?
Just
I need
I-
both of your advice, not
That-
just one
I-
of you. I need you both.
Hey, down.
It's not working, Chad.
I think it right up.
Fire, Katie.
Go ahead.
I'm pulling it up. Hang on one second. Okay. I have, from the dispersal draft, I've got the 102, 105, 106, 109, 111, 202, 205, 302, 306,
I'm
and
keeping track of the
311.
odds. You keep track of the evens, Tim.
I have 10 picks in the first 3 rounds of the rookie free agent draft that's coming up. The rosters are 22-man rosters. They are tight as fuck. And so I can't,
Boy.
That's
My-
half your roster.
that's half my roster. Exactly.